Hey guys, I'm here with the Rob Kraft.
That's right, the Ohio State University.
Yep, the Rob
The
Kraft.
Rob Kraft. Yep.
And this past Sunday, Rob preached for NextGen Sunday, and the title of the sermon, "Tag Team Working Together to Reach the Next Generation."
Yeah.
And the big idea, of course, was
That the church and the family must work together to reach the next generation.
Yeah, so great sermon, really challenging to us as a church, and how we view the role of the church and the family in raising up the next generation of disciples of Christ. And Rob, there were two main points here. One dealt with our personal, and the second one dealt with the way that we team together. And I kind of want to start right there. That
Okay.
we have to be intentional, and we have to team together to reach the next generation, to disciple the next generation.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they hear that word discipleship and they get intimidated. They say they don't know how to disciple their children. They don't know how to disciple the next generation. But you made some great points in your sermons that we have some great examples out there.
Yeah.
That a lot of us are involved in.
Yeah. One of the things I think is we look at, especially a sports dynamic, and in particular, kind of like travel baseball. It's an article, a magazine article I read years ago, and just really talked about how travel baseball really is set up as a discipleship kind of pattern of you have multiple adults investing in kids, and then of course me investing in my own personal kid and taking time to get them to practice, or taking time to get them to one-on-one practice or 4-on-1 practice or the full team practice, and understanding that one-on-one time is important, it's beneficial, but understanding that big time together is beneficial, and that it takes multiple people to really make that team function to the best of its ability. And it takes the team and the families being committed to attending and being committed to working even when they're not at practice to be the best that they can be. And it's a really similar idea to what we're asking for and what we're looking for from a discipleship standpoint is adults and parents investing in their kids, investing maybe in a smaller group of kids, being willing to teach a class or be involved in teaching a class or helping teach a class here. Or there's a lot of similarities of that model of travel baseball and what the church would love to see, kind of a very similar model from a discipleship standpoint.
Yeah, because ultimately, like you said, we've got, depending on how many Bible study services people come to, we got somewhere between maybe 2 and a max of 5 hours a week where we, the church, are impacting the kids. And beyond that, what's happening every afternoon when they come home from school, and are you in the Word? One of the things I think parents do unintentionally a lot of times is we send this unintentional signal that church isn't as important as the other stuff, and the ways that we do that is when a kid comes home from school, what's the first thing that we we ask them, everybody tells us we should ask them? It's questions like,
how's your day? What kind of homework do you have? That's
a big test.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
I pick up Ada every day, and more than likely before we get to wherever we're going, we've asked those questions.
Yeah.
What did you do? How was it? What kind of homework do you have, and what's coming up?
Yeah,
and,
what'd you learn?
Yeah.
And a lot of times as parents, we get through with church and we're running to lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And, how often do we ask, what'd you learn today? Like, what'd you study today in class? And do we worry through the week about reinforcing those things, or even having those quiet times? Because the other thing, so we unintentionally put church last by really we show that those things are important. Like the things we ask about are important. We ask how's school going, how'd practice go, and when we don't ask how did church go, what'd you learn at church, and we don't talk about it, it's just something that we did. It's over with.
And those are simple opportunities. It is a natural question to ask. We do it constantly, like you said, with sports and academics, especially with kids. It's a natural conversation to have. Hey, what did we talk about today? What did you think of the sermon? What was what point did you like the most? Or from if they're Sunday schools or connect groups, what did y'all talk about? And, for Asher and that younger kid, what'd you make? A lot of times they make something that helps tell that story. So it's a natural thing to do. We've just got to be willing to do it. And and I get it. It's not easy for me. It's not something that I naturally want to do.
Yeah.
I have to intentionally take the time to ask my kids about what they did in connect groups, or what did they think about the sermon. So
absolutely, and here's a key to everything we just said. You had to have been in the sermon to really be able to have a great conversation, or you had to understand what they were studying in connect groups. That's the reason we send those sheets home with kids so parents can know. But the other thing, just in our everyday faith, we have to. It was your first point in the sermon, right? It's focused in on what we as individuals, our relationship with Christ. We have to have this active relationship with Christ. If we're not in the Word, we don't have what we read about that morning to share with our kids.
Right, and that, I think there's some. One, again, we talked about a sponge a little bit on Sunday morning, and whatever that sponge soaks up is when it gets squeezed, that's what's going to come out. So we have to be intentionally investing in our faith. I've got to be a sponge and just soaking up opportunities for prayer and opportunities to get in God's Word and opportunities to serve and opportunities to share. I've got to soak up those opportunities so that, one, that my kids can see that and see that that's important, and then I have something to squeeze out. I have something to squeeze out to them, and I think that's one of the things we desire as a church and as a staff is we want to help families do that. We want to offer some things. The reading plan, for example, this year where we have a kid's book, a teen's book, and an adult book, all reading very similar scriptures, all having a very similar memory verse. One of the memory verses we bring up every Sunday, and try to give them something that's there. They don't have to figure something out on their own. Hey, here's something to read, and here's a few questions to discuss at some point in time during the week. It doesn't have to be every waking minute, but it is definitely, you want to demonstrate the value that we place on our relationship to help our kids and help our younger generation understand the importance of it.
Yeah, those reading plans are great, by the way, because it's really cool to be able to. And I've never done anything with my kids before that was set up like this, where I'm doing my quiet time in the morning, right? So I'm reading a couple chapters, and then that afternoon or evening, I'm doing the same exact Bible story,
right?
Smaller piece, with my kids, and then it's just like I got filled up that morning, and now I'm getting to pour into my kids.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the beautiful things about discipleship, especially family discipleship, and I think this is a key that we've got to understand, is that when we're in the Word and we're praying and we're doing the things we're supposed to do, it just flows out of us, and it becomes more natural to have those conversations with our kids. Because you think about it, we have conversations with our kids about the things that we have in common, right? Like I know we're both big baseball fans, big Braves fans, and I know we both, with our boys, we love talking baseball, and like we study the game of baseball stats and stuff, both of us, and like baseball cards and stuff like that. And then we have the conversations about those things with our kids. I don't know what conversation Corbin and I are going to have this year, because it used to be I was Team Freeman and he was Team Acuna, and now Freeman's gone.
Well, but we don't want to talk about that.
But
still tears, still tears.
Yeah. But those are the things, guys. Like if we're getting fed, if we're in the Word, then those conversations with our kids, they become much easier, and they happen. Now we have to intentionally make them happen, but as they start, we've got that common ground with them. Those things that we've been studying, the sermons that we've heard, the Bible stories that we're reading together, that time we're spending together in the Word, and it's all beautiful. And at the end of the day, the kid who comes to church with his parents and serves the church with his parents, and has other people in their life who are who are believers, it shows that the kids who do those things are part of that 25% of kids who who continue to attend church as they become adults. It's a small percentage.
Yes.
25% of kids attend church as an adult. Yeah. And they have in common their parents brought them. For the most part, this isn't everybody that comes to church as an adult, but the ones who continue on in church, their parents brought them. Their parents were involved along with them. They read the Word together. They had somebody else in their life, like a Rob or an Eric or one of our great Connect group leaders who made an investment in their life and changed the trajectory of their life forever.
Right. Yeah. It's lots of different studies you can look at, but there are a lot of we see the same similarities. It's an involvement, but it's an authentic involvement in church, and when faith is demonstrated as important amongst the family unit, kids they want to go that way. Yeah. So, how can we help you to do that? We want to walk alongside you. That was the purpose of the message Sundays. We want to walk alongside you, families and adults, as you look for your personal relationship, as you look at that pass on responsibility. And we understand that we have a calling to teach our kids when we have them here, but we really want to do a better job of walking with parents and serving with parents as well. So.
Truly is a tag team effort. Rob started the sermon off talking about the great tag team duos of all time. You messed up because you Ultimate Warrior and Texas Tornado were not on your list. That's the first tag team duo I remember.
TheWrestlingEstate.com is who you have an issue with, not with me.
If Texas Tornado wouldn't have died an early death, they would have been up there.
Probably so.
I'm sure. All right, thanks, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed the sermon. It's not too late to check it out if you missed it. Just visit our Facebook page, our church website, or our YouTube channel.